What up, everyone? I am PolarIce. Welcome to the PolarIce Network for all things gaming, tech, and beyond. Today, I will be providing a walkthrough of the initial setup of the 2021 16-inch MacBook Pro, the M1 Max Processor Edition, to gaming and beyond. So here we are at the main Apple startup menu, where it does, give you all of your language options, English and every other language known to mankind, and a little description down here that indicates by using this software, you agree to the terms of the software license agreement for the software. You can view the terms of the software license agreement and it gives its website. We are not going to do that. So the trackpad is huge. And again, I am going from a MacBook 2013 mid-year edition. And this is the first time I've actually had an upgraded MacBook. So I will say that this mouse pad is ginormous. It's almost, it's definitely smaller than my hand, but nonetheless comparable. So it's very large, indeed. And I like it. It gives more screen.
macOS contains a built-in screen reader called VoiceOver. If you know how to use VoiceOver, press Command F5 now to turn it on and set up your Mac.
So you know who
If you would like to learn how to use VoiceOver to set up your Mac, press the Escape key.
So we know that voice, that's Siri, and she just rudely interrupted what I was saying, but apparently they do have this VoiceOver accessibilities, which is really good for, I'm assuming, the visually impaired. So here we have, or those who may have other difficulties in terms of the ability to be able to see. So you have to be able to hear, but I'm assuming it's an accessibility feature. Nonetheless, you can use the voice commands. It appears in some ways, this VoiceOver. Oh yeah, and it does indicate right there. Press the Escape key to hear how to set up your Mac with the VoiceOver, or triple click the Touch ID, which is right here, to view the accessibility options. We're going to hit continue, and we are presented just what I was saying for the individual needs, the accessibility. So it has here the accessibility features. Adapt your Mac to your individual needs. You can turn them on now to help you finish setting up and further customize them later in the system preferences. See what's available in each of the categories below, and we could look at it. Gives us with the vision. The VoiceOver provides spoken and brailled descriptions of items on the computer screen and provides control over the computer through the use of the keyboard. And we can do that turnover if we want. I don't want to do that though. We have vision. So zoom is a feature here that is not the zoom that we have all come to know and embrace, but the zoom is a powerful built-in magnifier, letting you enlarge your screen. If you hold down the control key and then swipe up on your trackpad or the mouse to zoom, you could use that feature. I'm not particularly interested in that at this time either. Next is the vision. So the hover text enlarges the text under the pointer in a large text view while the command key is held down. And that's the hover text. Not interested in that. And I believe this is last but not least vision, the speak selection. Selected text will be spoken when the option and escape keys are pressed. You can customize the keys later. So this actually might be a little helpful, where it will maybe allow me to be able to access some of the things that the touch bar, or the omission of the touch bar, kind of leaves a need for. And of course our pointer size. So we can make a very large, pointer, or very small. I'll use the default. We can reduce transparency as an additional feature in the vision, so it improves contrast by reducing transparency and blurs on some backgrounds to increase legibility. So there's just standard, and then there is the reduction of transparency. I will continue with the standard, as I will for the increased contrast also under the vision. Increased color contrast between the app colors to increase the legibility. And appearance. Lighter, dark appearance changes the color of the screen content. So, Apple has brought this out in a lot of their devices many years ago, but the typical light look, or a dark look, or an auto. I'm actually tempted to select the auto, but because I really want to see everything in its beautiful quality, I'm going to select the light for now. And I was wrong. There is yet another option for the reduction of motion called reduce motion. If you are affected by the movement of the screen elements, you can enable reduce motion to decrease movement in apps or areas such as spaces, notification center, and the dock. I will also continue and keep my standard. And that's it. So there's a motor. I'm not going to go through all of these, or I guess I could just really briefly. Motor with accessibility keyboard. So the accessibility keyboard is an on-screen keyboard that allows you to type and interact with your computer without using the physical keyboard. We can turn that on, but we will not. Hearing, so you can use closed captions. And you can turn this on here. It shows you how the subtitles will look. And you can use closed captions to display the music and sound effects while you watch movies and TV shows. You can customize what your captions will look like later in the system preferences. There is a flash for alerts and hearing, so instead of playing an alert sound, the screen will flash when an app needs your attention. We can test this here with the test screen flash to kind of let you know that something was going on there. Again, it gives us the option to turn on the flash for alerts. We will not, at least for my usage. And cognitive, interesting title, appearance. Light or dark appearance changes the color of the screen content. Again, this light, dark, and auto option. Speak selection. We've already talked about that before. I don't know why they really mentioned it again, but this one is new with typing feedback under the cognitive menu. With typing feedback, your Mac will speak characters, words, or selection changes as you type. That I am not interested in. We already looked at the hover. And that takes us through all of the accessibility menus. All right, so when we connect, it then takes us to this data and privacy screen. But first, I want to take an opportunity to just really talk about the keys. So this is the first time I've actually touched the keys, and I have to say, I'm in love. These keys, it feels as if they have a cup or a curve on the side, so your fingers really press independently in the keys, and it just feels really nice and very solidly built. So I'm very impressed with the keyboard. Some of the other units I know I've used, my wife's other MacBook. She has one of the ones that came out like a year or two ago. I cannot stand the keyboard in there. So I think it's like the butterfly keyboard. They bought that. I like it. The clicks are nice, silent, and very appropriate. And the data and privacy screen tells you that this icon appears when an Apple feature asks to use your personal information. You won't see this with every feature, since Apple collects this information only when it is needed to enhance features, secure our services, or personalize your experience. Apple believes privacy is a fundamental human right, so every Apple product is designed to minimize the collection and the use of your data, use on-screen processing whenever possible, and provide transparency and control over your information. And you can click in here and learn more. But I have to say that Apple is committed to privacy. It appears through a lot of the measures that they've taken. And this was a huge driving factor personally for me, because I understand that data mining and the selling of your information without your consent, I don't like that. And so the ability to have control over what is collected and how it's used, I'd imagine Apple may still take some of my stuff, so I don't think there's any platform really that's available that doesn't have some traces of data transmission. But, I can certainly respect their approach to embracing and emphasizing data and privacy. They do have a migration assistant, so if you have information on another Mac or a Windows PC, interesting, a Windows PC, you can transfer it to this Mac. You can also transfer information from a Time Machine backup or use another startup disk. I actually have a Windows PC. I have a Surface Pro 7, but I also do have a Mac. I don't know if it'll be able to transfer from my old Mac. Again, this is the 2012 mid-year edition, but we'll see. It tells me that my Mac is running on battery power. It is strongly recommended that you connect your Mac to an AC power before migrating. So I would imagine that this is going to take quite some time and probably drain the battery. So we'll plug our unit up. Again, it does have the MagSafe connectors. It plugs on the left side of the computer, at the very top. Nice, strong magnetic pull into it, much more stronger, noticeably more stronger than, again, my older MacBook. And, our familiar orange circle that lets us know it's charging. Obviously, I haven't had it. This is my first time using the charger, so I'm sure just even through my initial unboxing, some of the energy and some of the battery went down slightly. But again, this thing is supposed to have like a trillion battery hour life, so we'll see what impact that might have had. Maybe there'll be an opportunity to take a look at the battery usage thus far. And then for us to transfer information to this Mac, you have to select the Mac, Time Machine, or the startup disk to transfer it. And it's looking for the sources. So we have to make sure that it is connected to the same network, which it is. And when transferring, we have to open the migration app in the utilities folder on that Mac, and then select to another Mac. So I will actually initiate that and get back to you guys on how seamless or easy that process was. So just stay tuned and I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So the other MacBook Pro, my other one, does show up here, and it gives me the option to continue. I'm kind of on the fence if I want to start just a fresh install, and just maybe install everything from that I need. Again, I've had this MacBook since 2012, so it's really amassed a lot of files and data over time. And I'm really curious to see though what this backup will look like. I think it'll be very convenient because all of my things and applications will already be there, but I don't know. I'm some of the things are no longer supported. Some of the things are, just things I don't use anymore. So in hindsight, I'm actually going to hit back and I'm going to cancel the migration screen. And it looks like I can maybe do it later. So it gives me the option to sign in with your Apple ID, and I will do that and be back momentarily. And so when I sign in, I enter my password, of course, my login credentials. It gives me the terms and conditions, that you're supposed to read. But again, a copy of these are available at that website that I'm not going to read, legal, yada, yada. So we're just going to agree. And the system then will go and pause until it connects to the next part. All right, so after we enter the username and the password, it gives us the option at that point to read the privacy statement. It gives us the link to where if we wanted to read the privacy statement, where it can be accessed from. Not interested in that at this time. So I do get a chance at this time to create a computer account. So my full name will just be my name, and I have my account name, and where I can enter my password, so a new password for this. We'll have to verify it again, and if you want a hint, you can. I'm not going to do that, and we can allow Apple ID to reset this password if we need to, so we will leave that checked. I will enter my password credentials and be right back. All right, so when we enter that information, it takes us to this menu here that says iCloud, setting up account, and with our little thinking thingamajig there, the wheel as it's turning and thinking, I'm supposing. No other options but to wait at this point. Very interesting to see if it really pulls all the data that I have saved into iCloud into this computer. I do not want to fill the new hard drive with all of that data, but there are some things that I would like to be able to have, preferences and things like that have already been set up so they can be used more easily on this unit. So this is taking quite a bit of time. I guess it's setting the account up. I don't know why it's setting the account up because I already have one. It would probably more appropriately say logging into the account, but I digress. We continue to wait. And boom, there you are. Enter the password for the other MacBook Pro. So enter the password for my MacBook Pro. Your password is encrypted and cannot be read by Apple. I will enter that and then get back to you next. So what was interesting is that it said that I entered my password incorrect too many times, and that's just not true. I entered the correct password, so it said I couldn't use some of the end-to-end encryption things initially, so it's disabled, but it'll still let me sign in. And it says the iCloud keychain, so this keeps the passwords and credit card information that I save up to date on the devices that I approve. My information is encrypted and can't be read by Apple. I will definitely set up keychain on here. It'll probably have me. And here is the Find My MacBook, where it will send it messages and remotely lock or erase it. And it will use the Apple ID that is associated with my account. It also says that Find My also protects your Mac with activation lock, which prevents anyone else from using your Mac, even if it's lost or stolen. So we're gonna hit continue. Definitely wanna activate that. And there is an enable location services. So this allows us to allow apps like maps and services like Spotlight, suggestions to gather and use data according to my approximate location. Normally I would not enable that, but I'm gonna enable it for this, only because of a lot of the high priority on security. Help Apple and app developers improve their products and services automatically. I do not want to share my Mac analytics with Apple. I do not want to share my crash and usage data with app developers, and I will hit continue. Gives me the typical screen time rundown, get insights about your screen time and set limits for what you want to manage. Weekly reports, downtime and app limits, content privacy restrictions, and screen time password. And each one of those clearly does what it says it does. Then we can enable Siri, which helps get things done by just asking Siri. Can also make suggestions before you ask in apps, search, and keywords. And we have the Setup Hey Siri feature. It helps Siri recognize my voice when I say Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. All right. Hey Siri. Hey Siri, send a message. Hey Siri, how's the weather today? Hey Siri, what does the rest of my day look like? Hey Siri, play some music. And it says the Hey Siri is ready. So obviously you just saw me go through the prompts to set that up. Siri will recognize your voice whenever you say, Hey Siri. We can improve Siri in dictation, so help Apple improve it by allowing Apple to store audio. Again, that I'm not going to do. It says this data is not associated with your Apple ID and only be stored for a limited period. I do not want to do that, so I'm going to click Not Now. Hit Continue, and we again wait. We have a file vault disk encryption, which secures my data by encrypting the contents of the disk and locking the screen with a password. I would like to encrypt this. It says here that I can use the password or my username in order to unlock my disk and reset the password if I forget it. If you do not want to allow your iCloud account to reset your password, you have to create a recovery key and store it in a safe place where you unlock your disk. Seems like a lot. I need to decide if I'm going to do this or not. I do want to allow my iCloud account to unlock my disk, and I do want to turn on the file encryption, so I'll select both. And now we move to the Touch ID. So I can use my fingerprint to unlock my Mac and to make purchases with Apple Pay. And I can start by placing my finger or the thumb on the Apple ID. So I'll place my finger. And this is a very familiar screen that is on the iPhone. It's doing its little analysis of my fingerprint. And now the fingerprint can be used to unlock my Mac. Touch ID is ready. We click Continue. It takes us to the Apple Pay menu. We can add credit, debit, or store cards and use Apple Pay with Touch ID to make purchases easily and securely right from your Mac. You can set it up later. I can do it now. And so after we enter all of the information on there, we are presented with the main display. All of our apps are neatly aligned, which really nice. Look, it looks really nice, nicely aligned with the layout of the keyboard. And some little options that were popping up there. And in terms of the features, we can definitely see the notch, but it doesn't, at least initially, appear to be a problem. It looks like everything is neatly put in this bar, this horizontal bar here at the top, so it kind of just fits in. I am curious, so does this appear if you move it up, and if you move it to the right or the left, you can see it kind of goes behind the cursor. There is no other way. I guess they could actually make it unless it went crossed over the front of it, but we can't do that because, of course, the notch is there. I don't see the notch as being a problem at this point. But again, when I actually use the device for other things like maybe watching videos or full screen content, I'll be able to have a better assessment at that time, and I will certainly update you guys and let you know. So that concludes the MacBook setup. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. Make sure that you subscribe so that you can receive awesome updates on the upcoming content that I will be having, including some of my initial first impressions with the MacBook Pro 2021 edition, the 16-inch, and also video gaming, interviews, and just all things that are geek. So with that being said, I am PolarIce. This is the PolarIce Network. I am signing out and saying to gaming and beyond. Take care, guys. See you later.